Do you have questions about the coronavirus vaccine? Are you concerned about how quickly it was made and does it really work? If you want to know the answer to that and a few more questions, stay tuned. Hello, this is Dr. Batts, and this is going to be the first of a series that I call 5 Minutes of Medicine. Now, unfortunately, I tried to make the discussion about coronavirus 5 minutes of medicine. It may be a little more, but I'm still going to put a timer up so you can hop in and hop out as you want. In the future, I'll be covering topics like, is sitting the new smoking? What's the best diet? Different things like that. Mainly questions that my patients have for me, and I want this to be a time where I can give information and hopefully help folks to engage in a more fulfilling conversation with their provider, or to give people information so they can make more informed healthcare decisions. In any case, I'm looking forward to this journey that we're going to take together. So join me. This is the disclaimer. This information is purely educational. It is not a diagnosis. It is not, me giving you a consult or anything like that. I would encourage you to seek further evaluation if you have questions with your primary provider. With the coronavirus changing the way we do things, it forced both my friends, family members, patients to come to me and say, number one, are you getting the vaccine? Number two, what's going on with this vaccine? They made it so quickly, we're nervous about it. Well, I want to get some information out there to you all in plain English that explains it. Now, as I said, I've got 5 minutes, that's it. And so the timer is going to pop up somewhere around here, and you'll see the timer, and we're going to go. Now let's talk a little bit about the virus. As we all know, the virus is a respiratory virus. That means it comes into our body through our nose, mouth when we breathe it in. Other things that can take place are cardiac issues, and that's why as a cardiologist I'm concerned. Many times people think you have to have cardiac conditions such as heart attack, stroke, vascular disease for this to cause a problem, but we know that all you need are the risk factors, whether those be high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, even obesity can be a risk factor for coronavirus. In addition to mask wear, hand washing, social distancing, and other mitigating strategies, the vaccine provides us another strategy to decrease our risk. In a study that looked at national trends of individuals' likelihood to get the vaccine, what we've seen is that over the past several months, there's been an 18% reduction in the likelihood that people would accept the vaccine. Now, this drop in likelihood wasn't due to race, age, educational status. It covered all areas, and what we saw was a drop in all of those areas. Overall, what the study noted was that education and informing people about the potential benefits, risk, and other things about the vaccine would be helpful to allow people to make a more informed decision, and that's what we're trying to do here. So the first questions are, is the vaccine safe and does it work? Well, what we know is that when we target or make a vaccine, there are many different targets we can choose. The entire virus, just the envelope, the genetic material, various things like that. In this virus, there are 3 potential targets. They're the envelope that the virus is housed in, there's the virus genetic material, and there's a spike protein that exists on the outside of the virus. All of the current strategies to make the vaccine utilize that spike protein that's on the outside of the virus. Of the 4 companies that have come to the forefront, what we see is that 2, both Moderna and Pfizer, are the first that have clinical trials that have moved forward. How do they do that? They package messenger RNA in a capsule that's delivered in the vaccine, and what happens is that messenger RNA goes into the cell and it uses the cell's mechanisms or machinery to make that spike protein. It does not go into your DNA. It does not change your genetic code in any way. The 2 studies that have come out on these messenger RNA vaccines came out last month. And what they revealed was that the vaccine has a 94 or 95% efficacy and overall compares with safety of other vaccines at the 2-month period. Now, the 2 trials came out very close together and overall look very similarly. Some of the questions that folks had were, well, what types of people were in the study? All types of people, healthy, unhealthy. Now, again, they had a larger proportion of healthy individuals, but overall, 30% of the individuals in the studies were obese, and again, around 10 to 15% had prior liver disease, heart disease, lung disease, or other things that might predispose them to risk. You may be asking, well, what did the study look at? Studies look at a couple of things. In these two trials, again, in lieu of time, we'll focus on just a few things that they looked at. The primary endpoint was, could it reduce individuals getting COVID infection? The secondary endpoint was, could it reduce severe COVID-19 infection, which is very important for individuals with risk factors. And what we know is that both trials, when you look at these graphs, look exactly the same. After that second dose, we saw that the individuals who did not receive the vaccine had a higher likelihood of attaining or acquiring COVID-19 infection. Now, this is a summary of both articles, and what it reveals to us is that the groups that received the vaccine had a lower incidence of COVID-19 infection. So the studies both indicate very similar limitations. The time at which the information has come back has been shorter than what we typically have. Also, they didn't look at all groups, children, pregnant women, various groups like that. And then what to do if an individual misses that second dose. Now we'll delve into, how is this vaccine created so fast? Typically, it takes 10 to 15 years for a medication, a vaccine to come to market. In many cases, it's just due to the fact that these trials run after each other. However, in an outbreak or a pandemic paradigm, one could consider that these sections overlap each other, meaning efficacy and safety could be run similarly to decrease that time, and that's what's been done here. So again, the creation of the vaccine in a quicker format is not something that we're totally unfamiliar with. It's oftentimes been broached and discussed with other cases. The next question is this vaccine a cure? And can I stop wearing my mask? Well, unfortunately, the answer to both those questions is no. Right? What we know is that the CDC recommends, even after you've been vaccinated, to keep your mask on. It is not a cure, and to wear your mask. Finally, I was given the question, can this vaccine cause infertility? There was some questions on social media that came up, and I can tell you that when I searched for the information or identified it, it was labeled as incorrect or false information that was put out there. But when we look at the American Society of Reproductive Medicine data, they comment that, again, there's no evidence that mRNA viruses can cause infertility, stillbirth, or anything such as that. The reason why this information came up is that the proteins for the S spike protein that's on the virus, as well as in the placenta in pregnant women, have some similarities. But again, when looking at the amino acids or the actual genetic codes to these things, they don't have enough similarity for our bodies to see them as a foreign substance and to fight against them. So overall, I hope you all have gained some information from this and made you a little bit more comfortable, not with taking or not without, but just giving you the same information that I'm going to talk to my patients about, that I'm going to use for myself, and that I'm going to use for my family. Now, the CDC recommends that we take a 5-step approach to information about coronavirus. So for me, the first one is a place of empathy and understanding. Empathy and understanding, I'm in this with you, right? I have a couple of pre-existing conditions. I don't want coronavirus. These masks definitely take away from my beautiful face. But in any case, and ideally, I know that many of you all are on the fence about it. Is this good? Is it bad? And so hopefully this has provided you some of that information. Again, I don't want to make a recommendation. However, I would encourage you to see your doctor and to talk to your doctor, because it's all personal. And I know you can't reach out to me. Many of my patients reach out to me on social media and other places, and that's what prompted some of this conversation. But even with my family, we're still having discussions about it and what it would mean. Ultimately, I encourage you to go to the CDC's website and to look at the information they have. I think that they provide up-to-date information that allows us to make very informed decisions. But in any case, this is Dr. Batts. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. Have a delightful day.